This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Joining us today is John Teeling, the chairman at Arkle Resources, following news from their lithium project in Botswana. John, thank you for your time. How are you doing?
It's good. It's a nice spring morning here, so I'm in good form.
Oh, good. Good to hear. Good to hear. So, of course, the news release this morning here is about the lithium and, of course, the magnesium at the project here in Botswana. So, first of all, just on the lithium, this first pass, as I understand from reading the RNS there, the first pass, the grades are fairly low. So what's the strategy for targeting perhaps higher grades in subsequent phases of exploration?
Well, this is we've just finished the second phase. The first phase was to see if there were brines over the 937 square kilometres, two big blocks. There were, and we got fairly good depths of that. The second phase was to see, is there lithium in it? And there is in all 20 of the samples that we took and sent off for analysis to Australia. The grades are low, but that might not, we're not too concerned about that because the grades can vary quite widely, and this is at the very edges of the pan, so we're not certain. Now, you would prefer higher grades, obviously, but the principal thing is that there is now lithium in every single sample we got. Right,
so that basically says there is lithium spread out across this whole area here.
Absolutely, for what we did, and we're still only covering a small part of it.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, you're planning to sort of look a bit deeper, are you? Is there some
what we'll do now is we have to do a grid sample, and that could be anywhere up to, it'll be 50 holes. The holes are very shallow. They won't be any more than 30 meters using a very small rig. I'm not sure yet how many we'll do. We have to see. It has to be a statistically significant sample so that we get some estimate to be able to estimate the grade over the block. Now, we may take one license because they're pretty big. We're looking at anything at this stage, and please don't take it in at this stage, that our first pass at these sampling would probably cost about £200,000 and would have quite a number of holes on that. It will depend on it, but that'll include the analysis. The analysis can be quite expensive because this has to be shipped in drums to Australia.
So this will actually be shallow drilling, and you say it's a grid.
Well, the whole thing is shallow. Yes, yes, at most 30 meters. Yeah,
and you're saying it's a grid sample. So what does that mean exactly?
That means that we have a map of it all, and we do a statistically located area where we will decide that we might drill in a square of every 100 meter square or 200 meter squares, depending on what we decide to do. Now, that's standard at this stage where you're trying to have an indicated resource. That's all you will get from this.
Right.
And then what you might do, if say it still looks good on say 100 meter square, so you drill 4 holes in 100 meter square and continue out like that. And then at the next stage, assuming this goes okay, is you cut it down to 50 meter centers. And then depending on the type of grades you get, you might have to go to 25. That would be unlikely in lithium.
Right. Okay. So the objective then would be to get an indicated resource. Is that the objective?
Very much to see if, and that's why we need to see that the grades can be better over than where they are.
Right. Yes. Okay. So looking for better grades and getting an indicated initial resource.
Again, yes, exactly. We're fairly sure it's contained in every sample.
Okay.
Now it's a question, what's the average grade per square meter or per square ton, litre?
Sure. Okay. Well, you've got the magnesium as well there. So does Arkle see the magnesium as a core part of the future business at this project, or is it a bit of a byproduct?
No, the answer is yes, for a couple of reasons. One of the big difficulties with a sister company, we've been working extensively in South America in the salt pans, and that's what actually led us to go for the salt pans in Botswana. And one of the problems there has been that the magnesium content interferes with the lithium extraction. And that has been a problem. And you see some of the comments say, oh, it doesn't work because of that. And that's true. Mm-hmm. But the new DLE, direct lithium extraction, extracts the magnesium first. Now, what is fascinating about this, and this was totally unexpected, is that our magnesium grades are quite good, much higher than you would find in most lithium projects, say in South America or in other parts of the world. And the technology that's being developed now, that has to be developed for many of these, is to extract the magnesium first. And this is done by membranes. So what you do is you take out the magnesium, and the organizations that we're dealing with say they have an 80% recovery of the magnesium, and then you extract the lithium. Because as I said to you, lithium is regarded as a bad, deleterious product for lithium. But by getting it like this, you're getting a valuable product out of it. So while it might still be a byproduct, it must be extracted. So there's, in fact, instead of being a cost, it's an advantage.
Okay.
It's a big plus. We were quite surprised at that now. Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, indeed. So the magnesium comes off first in the process of getting through lithium.
That's exactly right. It's a chemical process that goes through membranes, and you extract the magnesium first, and there's some other elements as well, but we haven't looked at those because they didn't stand out. And then you're left, the last pass is to extract the lithium.
Okay. Well, this is interesting. And you say a pleasant surprise because, of course, lithium prices at the moment, I think, are pretty still depressed. But perhaps does the magnesium add a lot of value here? I mean, can you quantify how significant the magnesium discovery is?
In fact, what's depressing the lithium prices is that most lithium at the moment is produced from spodumene, hard rock lithium. We actually have licenses both in Ireland and in Zimbabwe for this. And it's more expensive. Spodumene, which gives you the pegmatites that gives you the lithium from hard rock, is expensive to extract and is more difficult environmentally. This is a very simple process. If it works, it has to work very well. And you re-inject everything, and ultimately the effect on the salt pan is very limited, very small. So lithium extraction from salt pans will be significantly cheaper than hard rock lithium. Okay. And as this technology takes over, as it must to be viable, it'll make the prices of lithium more variable. So we will be quite comfortable at this. We haven't done full costs on it yet because we're not at that stage yet. But you're probably looking at, if it's a 1%, you're looking at maybe $25 or a little more. Magnesium prices are also down in conjunction with lithium. But probably the net value extra per cubic meter of liquid would be $25 to the bottom line, which is very significant in terms of the extraction costs.
So the magnesium does add a significant bonus here.
Yes, it does. Okay. As I said, it was picked up remarkably now. This was not picked up by us because none of us are really experienced on lithium brines, but picked up by the evaluating operation, ALS in Brisbane in Australia. They said these are high magnesium contacts. And then our sister company looked at that, and there's quite a lot of technology there with their joint venture partner. So this has been a big plus, as you may have noticed from the way we put it in the RNS.
Indeed. And interesting what you say about spodumene, of course, and hard rock lithiums. You're saying that with the brines, it's a lot more cost efficient. So even at depressed lithium prices, brine-related projects are the ones that are going to win.
If the extraction is good, if DLE can be commercialized up there, yes, that new technology is, as I say, it's simply a chemical process where you're using membrane. And that it would be quicker and cheaper and less environmentally invasive.
Well, on the DLE, then, you say it's sort of new technology. Is it tried and tested? Are you engaging already with the partner? It has been
going for years and years and years, yes. And I think some of the more traditional mining analysts say, it hasn't worked that well. And it hasn't. But the latest stage of DLE now, which has been worked outside, there are some of them operating this in the States, and there are a number of these operating them, still growing it up in South America. But the technology appears to be American and Indian technology.
Okay.
And because they have salt pans as well. And the recovery seemed to be very good on that. And that's the critical thing. Now, remember, we're still a year or two away from having anything like that, or maybe even 3. Because the remarkable thing about the pans is that they get wet. At the moment, the pans in Botswana are wet because they've had rains. They have rains in their winter. And I was just talking to my colleagues out there this morning. They had very heavy rains. So you couldn't go into the pans until May or June. And then they get wet again next February. Okay. So we have time on that.
So that technology is tested. Are any successful case studies you can think of?
Yes, indeed. Again, as I said, the sister company has been looking at this for quite a long time, because 60% of the world's salt pans and lithium in total is supposed to be in the Bolivian salt pans. And that's where Clontarf has operated for maybe 40 years. Okay. And they are quite confident and comfortable that this technology will be the one that's going to transform the recoveries in these areas. Now, it's early stages. It's been done in Argentina, who have salt pans, and Chile that have salt pans also. Okay. So it's early stages, it's new technology, but it should be very significant for the extraction, particularly for the extraction of magnesium.
Okay, good. And have you started engaging with potential suppliers, or are we too early?
Yes. We have engaged certainly with the current user, the analysts of that, because we have contacts with them. And they are quite comfortable that they can extract that kind of process or that kind of grades from it.
Okay, interesting.
And it's they've done well because we've been with them though for quite a while.
Okay, good. Well, this coming on to then how you're going to do the next stage of the exploration here, getting to that initial kind of indicated resource. So you said it's going to cost about 200,000. So is that funded, and when are you looking to start?
It's not funded, and it will be funded. But given, if you've noticed how Arkle has been funded in recent years, there's a small group of supporters that have been there. And you would expect that particular group will fund this because it's this is what you like as an explorer. Okay. You really do. You're looking for something, the big hit.
Sure.
It's high risk, and you know that in most cases it won't work. But I'm delighted to say that from our viewpoint, we've been doing this for 50 years, and it's good to get a little bit of excitement again on something we didn't know was there. If this thing looks good, that's a wonderful feeling when you get something like that.
Yeah, indeed. Well, that's what exploration's all about, is that excitement of actually getting the drill bit. When would you look to get the drill turning, roughly?
Well, it can't be before the summer.
Yeah.
The drilling is quite straightforward and easy. It's only 30 metres, and there are rigs in Botswana available to do that.
Okay.
And we want to make sure we do it right, and the way it's collected it's in drums and things like that, because it's a mush. And but that'll be set up over the next, I don't think you'd see it before June or July.
Okay.
Which gives us time.
Okay, good. That's good. You set up some timelines there. So just finally on Arkle as a whole then, of course, Arkle's very well known. We've talked a lot about, of course, the zinc, the project there, of course, in Ireland with Group 11. How does this lithium and now magnesium potential here, does that change the sort of focus of Arkle? Are you becoming more down that route, or is zinc still very much part of the play here?
Well, as I said to you, we own 100% of the licenses in Botswana, and we own 22%, and we're a minority partner in the Group 11 licenses. But certainly, from the viewpoint of us who've been in this a long time, it's very exciting to have something that there's a huge upside potential, and we can do certain things like that. So I certainly think from that viewpoint, that's good. But as you say, we have 5.5 million tons proven resources in Limerick, and our partners, Group 11, are drilling extensively, multiple drill rigs to the south of us. Now, they put 4 holes into the southern part of our blocks, and we're awaiting those drill results. But they will probably announce fairly shortly. They've done, I don't know how many holes they will report, maybe 20 or 30 holes on that. They're expanding the size of their resource in a place called Ballywire and Carrykittle. And Carrykittle extends into our block. Okay. So it looks very good, and zinc prices are still very strong.
Okay. And just finally then, with a sort of a current market cap of, I think, under £2 million, a lot of the juniors are indeed floating sort of around quite low levels at the moment. Do you think that the company is fundamentally undervalued compared to the assets and the potential?
Given where it would have been 10 or 15 years ago, it's dramatically undervalued. We're totally out of favour. AIM is out of favour, and mining stocks are out of favour, and exploration stocks are even more out of favour. Yeah. And it has been very, very difficult for anybody listening to this to make money in these stocks. And it has been very hard to raise money. So we have been blessed over time that we have a small bunch of loyal supporters. Now, we would love to give them a big hit to justify it. And this is it's a possibility. Now, let me say, I'm not doing hard to promote. It's high risk because nobody's done it before. But high potential return. And so we need to follow it. I would love to see a revival in AIM mining exploration stocks. I think it's needed, but it's been a very difficult 10 years.
Yeah, indeed. Well, let's hope it does start to turn around. I think we're sort of seeing the early shoots of that at the moment. But for now,
hope so.
Thank you very much for your time. John Teeling, the
it's
Chairman
of Arkle Resources. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programmes at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.